Hi, I'm Sarah from MVMT, and today's teaching tip is why use Nordic walking poles for running. Okay, so I'm not a natural born runner. I took to running quite late in life, but I do enjoy running, you know, bits and bobs here and there, and I use Nordic walking poles when I run. And I've learned, been taught, picked up techniques along the way which have helped me sort of filter out what works and doesn't work in terms of running with poles. So a couple of things. I'm not going to really diss anything else. I'm not going to say anything bad about any other form of poles or running technique. I'm just going to say what I use and why it works for me, and give you some idea. So I use a Lecky pole that is a fixed length pole that folds up into three, so it fits in my backpack. I can decide then whether I want to use it for running or not. If I stop at a cafe, it folds up nice and neat. It doesn't take up much space, and it's carbon, super lightweight. It hasn't got on the tip a traditional Nordic walking spike. My fixed length poles I teach with have little spikes on the end, and then the rubber stoppers which go on the end of your poles. You also get them for these. But I love these because they're lightweight, fold into three, and hugely versatile. So the big thing here is this little handle. So it's a nice long section of handle here for you to grip, and Lecky make these gloves. This is a Nordic walking glove. Okay, you might have come across what they call their trigger point release system in skiing as well, but it's hugely useful. It clips in here, hear the click there, and basically the big difference between standard walking poles that have just a single loop and these is that it fits around your hand, and it allows you to release fully from the grip and push back, using that pushback to propulse you forwards as you go. So if you had a standard strap around here, you'd probably end up having to keep hold of the handle all the time. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad, that's just how they work, and they're brilliant at giving people confidence when they're out and about. But for me, with the Nordic walking strap there, I'm able to use the webbing between my finger and thumb, release my hand, I just open my hand, and I can push the tip into the ground and really push myself forwards. And that's what we're after, and that's the big game changer. You imagine running for a distance. If you had a pole that would allow you to be more efficient, to push you forwards a little bit more whilst taking the pressure off your lower leg joints and, you know, the big muscles that are working hard, I mean, wouldn't you want a bit of that? I certainly do. So the Nordic walking pole allows the release of the hand, allows you to take the hand further back and to push the tip into the ground, helping you move forwards. So that's why I like these, and that's the difference between these and the walking poles that have been adapted for running but still have just a single loop that goes around your wrist. It's your wrist, so I'm not that keen. This glove fits neatly onto your hand, and B, you can release and it'll push you forwards. So I'm going to show you the running technique I see a lot with poles, with walking poles, that people are using, and let's have a chat about it when we come to the end of this stretch. So we start with a walk, and most people will then just start running but keep the arms going the same. Okay, if you've got Nordic walking poles, you can obviously open your hands and release, and you'll get some push forward, certainly. But if you want to start running a bit faster, it gets a bit mad, a bit trippy and a bit crazy and bouncy. It's not very fluid, it's not very smooth as a running technique, it's a bit jerky. So if we call that sort of the two-time pace that we're doing, alternates working together, when it comes to running, by all means, you know, try it, see whether it works for you. But for me, we need to look at a different technique. Double pole planting can work. So we looked at the double pole plant, we think of it as 3 time, and it can be useful on the uphill. My goodness, it's useful on the uphills when you're running or when you're out and about walking. Super useful. Really takes the pressure off those quads and off those lower limb joints. Running, it's a bit intense. It doesn't feel very smooth or natural. So where I get to is what we referred to earlier as fall time, and that is something you can come and learn with me. But what I would say is learn to Nordic walk before you learn to run. You need the technique. You need to practice those transitions and get familiar and used to your poles, so that when you start running, moving at greater speed, they feel like a natural extension of you, and they help. They make life better, and you feel happy and confident with them when you're out and about. So enjoy. I hope that's given you some ideas and reasons why I like the Nordic Walking Poles for running. But go and find your local Nordic walking instructor, learn to walk, see what you think, and then look at adapting it for your running as and when. Enjoy.